My ex-wife slept with her boss, then got exposed in court. Hey, sir. My name is Thomas. I'm writing in because I recently listened to a few of the stories you've read from men going through divorce and betrayal, and I felt like maybe I should share mine too. It's been a little over 2 years since my divorce was finalized, and while the pain has faded, the memories are still sharp. What makes my story a little different is that the courtroom part of my divorce wasn't just tense, it was explosive. My lawyer didn't just help me win, he exposed everything. My ex wife and her boss lost everything right after. So, if you think your audience would want to hear about how a cheating wife and her lover got dragged in court and ruined their own careers, then here's my story. Let's rewind. I met my ex wife, whom I'll call Rachel, at a mutual friend's church event. It wasn't a typical meet cute. I wasn't even going to go that night, but my best friend Marcus guilt tripped me into showing up. Rachel was singing in the choir. She had this good girl church persona, modest dress, quiet demeanor, always quoting scripture. We had a casual conversation during the refreshment hour, and I thought, okay, maybe she's different. I wasn't some wild guy, but I dated enough to know that finding someone who seemed genuinely grounded was rare. We started dating. She was so heavy on the God first mindset, talking about praying before big decisions, keeping boundaries, waiting until marriage, the whole thing. And I was cool with that. I was raised in the church too, and while I wasn't perfect, I respected that she wanted to do things the right way. We didn't even kiss until the fourth date. She was textbook conservative Christian girlfriend, always saying how she wanted a simple life, to be a wife and mother, and to support her husband. We dated for a little over a year, got engaged after 9 months, married 3 months after that. Small wedding. I thought I hit the jackpot, man. Now here's where the mask started to slip. It started with little things, subtle changes in how she dressed. Nothing wrong with evolving style, but Rachel went from long skirts and high necklines to crop tops and tight pants in less than 6 months. Then she started working late more often. She was a secretary at a mid-sized insurance office, nothing too fancy, but suddenly she was always staying late, going on team building dinners, and she became way more into fitness out of nowhere. I remember the first time I felt like something was off. She came home one night smelling like cologne, not the kind I wear. I said something, and she brushed it off like I was being insecure. Gaslighting, plain and simple. The turning point came at the 18-month mark of our marriage. I had this gut feeling for weeks, but I couldn't prove anything. So I started checking. Little things, phone habits, lies about where she was. One Friday night, she said she was going to a company dinner. I tracked her location. She was at a hotel. I didn't even go there. I just sat with that info cold and numb. The next day, I confronted her. She denied it until I showed her the tracking log. Then she flipped it. I needed space. You've been distant. It just happened one time. You know the drill. I asked who it was. She wouldn't say. I pieced it together from texts she forgot to delete. It was her boss, a married man, 2 kids. That was the beginning of the end. I contacted a divorce attorney 2 days later, told him everything. My lawyer, bless this man, wasn't just sharp, he was surgical. He said, if this goes to court, we're not just filing for divorce. We're taking their reputations with us. I didn't even know what he meant at the time. Rachel tried to apologize, tried to pray with me, even cried on the couch holding her Bible, but I knew better by then. It was all theater. I refused counseling. I didn't want reconciliation. I wanted out, clean, legal, and final. When we got to the divorce hearing, that's when everything hit the fan. And this is the part I think your audience will really want to hear. So here's the full play-by-play of what happened inside that courtroom. It was a Wednesday morning. I'll never forget that date, April 19th. We walked into that courtroom like strangers. Rachel showed up with her attorney, dressed in this almost mockery of modesty. A long skirt, a cardigan, hair pulled back like she was still some innocent pastor's daughter. Her boss, David, was subpoenaed as a witness. He looked like he hadn't slept in a week. We sat down. My lawyer, Mr. Evans, started with the usual: assets, timeline, living situation. Then he said, "Your Honor, before we proceed to division of property, we believe adultery occurred, and we intend to prove that this affair had workplace implications that may impact the court's decision." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Go on." Mr. Evans pulled out a file so thick it looked like a phone book. He had screenshots, time-stamped texts, even printouts of security badge swipes from Rachel's office building that proved she had used David's card to access executive areas. We're talking emails between them on company servers, gifts purchased with corporate cards, hotel reservations made during company time. Rachel's lawyer tried to object, claiming character assassination. The judge let it roll. Then Mr. Evans dropped the bombshell. "Your Honor, we have an audio recording from a phone call between Mr. David, last name, and a subordinate where he discussed promoting Rachel to another position so they could travel together without suspicion. This violates workplace ethics policies and could be construed as coercion." Boom. David tried to deny it at first, but then my lawyer played the audio. You could hear his voice saying, "If I get her to regional admin, we can do that Nashville trip and no one will bat an eye." The judge looked over his glasses and asked, "Mr. David, is this your voice?" He stuttered, then nodded. It got real quiet. Rachel had her head down. Her lawyer looked like he wanted to crawl into the floor. The judge said, "Given this evidence, I will be granting Mr. Thomas's request for divorce on grounds of adultery. Furthermore, I will be forwarding this file to both the company's HR department and the board of directors, as this clearly demonstrates inappropriate workplace conduct." After that, we finalized property division, and the judge denied Rachel any alimony, said she had contributed to the breakdown of the marriage in a clear and willful manner. That was a win, but it gets better. A week after the hearing, I got a call from one of Rachel's old co-workers who had heard what happened. David was terminated. So was Rachel. The company swept it up fast, citing policy violations, but word got out. She couldn't get another job in the industry for months. She tried calling me once, left a voicemail about how she lost everything and didn't know where to turn. I deleted it without listening twice. It's been 2 years now. I've healed a lot since then. I started a small woodworking business. I'm not bawling, but I'm peaceful. That's something I hadn't felt in years while married to her. I started going back to church too, but on my own terms. I'm not bitter toward religion, but I've learned how dangerous it is when someone weaponizes faith to gain your trust. I look back and see how fake Rachel was. That whole God-fearing woman thing was just a costume she wore. I don't even think she knows who she really is. She wanted the image of the perfect wife without having the character to match. She wanted admiration, not accountability. Sometimes I wonder if I missed red flags. But honestly, she was good at pretending. Too good. I used to beat myself up about it. Not anymore. If anything, I'm grateful it ended when it did. Imagine if we had kids. Imagine if I was financially dependent on her in some way. She would have ruined me. There's a message I hope someone hears from this. Don't ignore your gut. I knew something was off, and I hesitated to trust myself. I thought maybe I was being too controlling or paranoid, but I wasn't. I just didn't want to believe the woman I married could be that deceptive. To the men listening out there, protect yourself. Spiritually, financially, emotionally. Don't marry someone based on their performance. Watch how they treat others, how they act when no one's watching, how they handle stress and power. That's who they really are. And if you're in a marriage where you feel like your intuition is screaming at you, don't silence it. Investigate, protect your peace. Sometimes losing a partner is the beginning of gaining yourself. Thanks for letting me share, man. If this story helps even one guy dodge a bullet or walk away from a toxic relationship with his head held high, then it was worth writing. She cheated with her boss. Now she wants me back. Hey, I'm back again. If you end up sharing my original email, I'd really appreciate if you could add this to it. Call it part 2, a continuation. I didn't think I'd write again, but something happened recently that made me realize this story isn't as finished as I thought it was. Because guess what? Rachel came back. Yeah, the same woman who betrayed me, humiliated me in court, and lost her job over what she did. She reached out again. I didn't expect it. I didn't even recognize the number. But once I listened to the voicemail and saw the email that followed, I knew exactly who it was. And this time, I felt something different. Not pain, not anger, pity. Let me walk you through everything. How she reached out, what she said, what I found out from mutual contacts, and how I handled it. Because as wild as the first part of this story was, what happened after the divorce says even more about who she really is. It started with a voicemail. It had been about 18 months since the divorce was finalized. I was in a better place. Business was doing well. I had new clients. I was going to the gym again, getting involved at church without being judged or manipulated. I was living free. Then one Sunday night, I got a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. Hey, Thomas, it's Rachel. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I've been thinking about you a lot. And I know I don't deserve anything from you, not even a reply, but I just need to say that I'm sorry. I miss you. I miss us. If you'd ever be open to talking, please, just give me 5 minutes. I know now that you were the love of my life, and I ruined everything. I won't lie. Hearing her voice again hit me in the chest. I wasn't expecting it. I sat there holding the phone, just stunned, but I didn't reply. 2 days later, I got an email. Subject line, please read. It was a wall of text. She started with, you don't owe me anything, but I hope you'll let me say this. Here's a rough summary of what she wrote. She admitted to everything she denied during the marriage, the lies, the sneaking around, even how long the affair with her boss had really gone on. Turns out it wasn't just one time. It started 3 months before I found out. She said she was confused back then and listened to the wrong voices. She mentioned that David, her old boss, fed her lies and made her believe she deserved more excitement and passion. She claimed they broke up shortly after the court hearing and that he ghosted her once she lost her job. She said, and I quote, he used me and I let him. Then came the part that made me laugh out loud. She said she wanted a fresh start with me, that she'd been going to therapy, going back to church again, and that she now realized I was the only man who ever truly loved her for her soul, not her body or her ambition. She said she regretted burning down our future and wanted to talk. Not to ask for anything, she wrote, but just to sit down and tell you how sorry I am to your face. I didn't answer that either, but I'm not gonna lie. Her message kept bouncing around in my head, not because I missed her, but because I wanted to understand what her real motive was. So I called an old mutual friend of ours, Michelle, who still worked in the same insurance world Rachel used to be in. What Michelle told me filled in all the blanks, the real reason she came back. Turns out, Rachel didn't just lose her job. She got blacklisted. HR circulated internal memos warning offices about inappropriate relationships with superiors, and her name got quietly attached to it. She couldn't land anything more than a receptionist gig at a temp agency. David left his wife, but didn't end up with Rachel. He moved to a different city and now works at some low-end firm doing grunt work. Rachel moved back in with her parents. According to Michelle, she gained weight, got super depressed, and deleted all her social media. She wasn't posting Bible verses anymore. No more #faithfirst. It just vanished. Apparently, she started reaching out to old friends and mutuals asking about me. She told them she wanted to rebuild what she destroyed. Some of them told her to let it go. Others gave her sympathy. One even suggested she write me a letter. Michelle said she was probably hoping I'd be in a forgiving mood now that some time had passed, that maybe I'd forget the details, that maybe she could slide back into my life and try again. She even told Michelle this exact sentence: "I know I blew it, but Thomas was safe. I miss feeling safe." And there it was. It wasn't love. It wasn't remorse. It was desperation. She didn't come back because she missed me. She came back because she missed what I represented: stability, protection, someone who forgave her repeatedly, someone who would have died before hurting her. But that man died the day she chose another man in a hotel room. So what did I do? I sat with that information for a few days, thought about writing her back, thought about giving her that 5-minute phone call she asked for. But then I remembered something my dad told me a long time ago. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer. So I left it alone. No reply, no closure, because honestly, I didn't need any. She got her closure when she destroyed our marriage for a cheap thrill. She got her closure when my lawyer exposed every lie in front of a courtroom. She got her closure when she lost her job, her lover, and her lifestyle all in one swoop. I didn't need to say a word. About 3 weeks later, she sent one more message. "Hey, I guess you're not going to respond. I understand. I just hope one day you'll believe me when I say I'm truly sorry. I wish I could undo what I did. I'll leave you alone now. I'll always be sorry." And that was it. That was the final nail in a coffin I buried a long time ago. Reflection. Why I'm glad she reached out. You'd think that hearing from her again would reopen old wounds, but it did the opposite. It confirmed everything I already knew. It reminded me that walking away was the best decision I ever made. It reminded me that fake repentance is always about them, not you. And most of all, it reminded me that peace isn't found in getting someone back. It's found in letting them go for good. There's something powerful in knowing that the person who wrecked your life now wishes they could have it back, but they never will. And no, it's not about revenge. I don't want her to suffer. I honestly hope she figures herself out. I hope she heals. But I won't be part of that journey because I already did mine. I already built myself up again. I already cried those tears, processed that betrayal, sat alone in an empty house and rebuilt from scratch. I earned my peace. She doesn't get to step into it like she didn't set the fire in the first place. To the men out there, if you're listening to this and you've been through something similar, let me say this clearly. Don't go back. I don't care how sorry she says she is. I don't care how much she cries, quotes scripture, or talks about therapy. If someone showed you who they really are, believe them the first time. You don't owe a cheater grace that comes at the expense of your own dignity. I know it hurts to walk away. I know it's confusing when someone you loved suddenly starts acting like a stranger, but the best thing you can do for yourself is move on, quietly, steadily, and completely. And then one day, maybe months or years later, when she finally realizes what she lost, she'll come crawling back, and you'll be able to say nothing at all because your silence says everything. That's it, man. That's the rest of the story. Appreciate you taking the time to read it all. If this helps someone else out there, then it was worth writing. All the best.